Hello, today I'm in Hyderabad. I'm going to talk to somebody who has a vision to create Indic Renaissance. Now, lots of people ask me what is Indic and what is Renaissance. So we have to understand. So with me, a wonderful man. As we talk to him, we'll understand what he's doing. Uh, Hari Kiran. Hi, Hari. Let me come close to you. How are you?
I'm good, Vivek. Welcome to Hyderabad. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
You, in Taran Adarsh's terms, you have just done a weekend, 100 crore blockbuster weekend. Glad to see your book as number one in Amazon, and congratulations.
Thank you. So, a lot of people who don't know, I won't tell you also because I've got a gag order. Uh, Actually, Hari asked me to write this book. It was his idea. Why did you ask me to write this book? I'm a filmmaker, live in Bombay, wear shorts and chappals and little intellectual hippie. You know hundreds and hundreds of intellectuals. What was that thought in your mind when you called up and said, Vivek, why don't you write a book on your experiences?
Well, it's when we first met in Bangalore, and that was in the middle of your tour and doing the universities, and we had a good time. You gave a good talk, and we saw the movie, and then subsequently you went to Calcutta, and then you had that problem, and after that. One of the days it just struck me that I think I was reading a book on a road trip, and there's something struck me that this whole thing about 35 universities that you have covered as a tour, that story in itself needs to be told. And there's the movie. And there's a movie about a concept, and which you brought out, and there's an effort that you put into marketing it. So this is something like a very, in terms of innovation, it's disruptive.
Yeah.
It's a completely disruptive means of marketing a movie. Last time I saw a disruptive sort of a thing was way back when Mahesh Bhatt actually released his movie. I don't remember the name of the movie, but he released it on Doordarshan.
With Anupam Kher.
Yeah, it was just
Daddy.
not Daddy, it was something else.
Some movie he did.
He just said, look, I want to release this movie free on Doordarshan.
Yeah.
So we don't get to see innovations in marketing very often. So what you did, independent of the narrative, the political, independent of all that, it's just that the concept that you said, look, forget it, I am going to market this film in the universities, and I'm going to show it free. To me, that was sort of a very innovative thought. Then I said, look, you should write a book on that trip, and that's why I gifted you those books on road trips, and what are the experiences that you gather when you're doing a road trip, because you have a lot of time to reflect, to assimilate, and then there's the event happening, and then you're catching it's like you're on a tour, right? The next day morning there's a flight, and then you catch, and then it requires a lot of perseverance.
Yeah, that's true.
So that appealed to me, and I felt that has to be told, because I've not seen that in India. I have not seen that kind of effort in marketing in India. So I thought that should be told, and that's why I reached out to you. And
I think the reason is that somewhere we were told marketing is not a good thing, and I keep fighting with everybody, and I say marketing is a great thing. How can you be successful? How this country is going to be successful without marketing? And my background. I come from very strong Indologist father, son. So I have also always believed in this. Now you are the first person I have met who is trying to package Indic knowledge and Indic objectives, and you are marketing them in a very unique and different style. Someday you will have to write a book, and if you don't, I will write a book on that. I'll do a biography, not biography, but on this project. It's very fascinating. So for people who do not know, there are what Hari Kiran is trying to do is cultivate and nurture all these people with great Indic knowledge and Indic wisdom, Indic science, Indic logic, Indian literature, and he is providing them just an atmosphere, an ecosystem, and all these people are volunteers. First, I want to ask you a technical question. It is impossible to manage more than 10 volunteers. And if they happen to be intellectuals, then it's a nightmare. And if they also happen to be very established people in their own field, known for something, then their ego, then it's correct to have professional ego, nothing wrong in it. Here you, in no time, in couple of years, 2 years or 3 years?
3 years.
In 3 years, last year you had a Indic festival, you have done conferences, you have done how many events so far?
More than 150.
150 is a big number. And I have met all these people, there is so much of harmony, people are excited, this enthusiasm. How are you being able to lead them? And I call it intellectual leadership. Or Indic leadership, you want to call it. So, what is that trick? When do you sleep? Do you sleep? What kind of... I am excited to know that.
I think, so I have a deep spiritual background. I am a believer in Advaita Vedanta. So I understand or being trained, not trained as in, I'm not a structured disciple in that sense, but self-study and I have. So I understand the concept of ego. So I also am an entrepreneur. So I also have cultivated an ego by choice. Right? Okay. So you're egoistic or you have an ego only by choice. So that means in the normal, because if you're doing a business, then you can't be egoistic. Right?
Yeah.
Customer is a king.
Yeah.
In my background, the bureaucrat was a king. Right?
Yeah.
And so you can't afford to have egos. There's one instance wherein I was waiting outside a chief minister's office for an appeal that we are making for 15 hours. And I had to have lunch. So I ordered lunch from the pizza corner. And he said, where should I deliver? I said, deliver it to the chief minister's office at the reception. And I got a meeting after 15 hours for 15 minutes because we were making an appeal. Another instance wherein with the electricity board chairman, I was standing next to him for 4 hours explaining something to him. So if you are in business, you can't have an ego. And then if you understand Vedanta, you understand what is ego. So you understand the concept that you should have ego by choice. Otherwise, you should not have an ego. So that helps me in dealing with a lot of...
So many egos.
Well, yeah, so many egos.
And statures.
Yeah. So I have my share of fights and instances wherein people have differences and I resolve them. And that's the secret sauce.
Okay, so I'll come to the structure later, but one thing, lots of youngsters, since I was traveling and one was talking about Indic Academy, so lots of youngsters come to me and they get confused. This is on one hand, somebody says, let's make it a Hindutva Rashtra. Somebody says, take pride in Hindu culture. Somebody says, Indian culture. Now here you have got Indic Academy and you are saying, believe in Indic thought and Indian this. What is this Indic? Somebody asked me actually. Yeah. And though I gave answer in my own way, but I want to understand from you, when you say Indic, Indic can mean many things to many people, like Modi can mean many things to many people. What is that vision you have? When you say Indic, what do you mean? So that a 10th grade or 8th grade child can understand. Make it simple for everyone.
Sure. So the first and foremost, I have now the same question that what you were asked. A lot of people ask me
Acha, they do.
as the founder of Indic Academy. So finally got down to actually making it in wordsmithing it, so that every word has a meaning and there's a reason for that word to be there, and not one word is out of place, right? So I spent a lot of time talking to friends and talking to a few people that I respect, and then finally I put it up on our website.
Okay.
So we'll come to that, but before that I want to just give you a conceptual framework, and then we can get into the actual definition of how. The fundamental conceptual framework is that, to say it in the layman terms, a non-Indic is a person who believes India was born in 1947.
Okay.
An Indic is a person who believes he is a product of a civilization. In very simple terms. So a lot of your friends, they say, look, India is a British construct. Right? It was born in 1947. So what are you talking about the past? Right? So reset. But if I feel for my civilization, both intellectually and emotionally, about my thousands of years of civilization, then I'm an Indic. So at a broad level, that's the definition. If somebody asks you,
decolonized mind.
That's the second question. So that's the cause. Basically, if the simple thing is, do you believe India is 1947?
Or
a civilization.
Yeah.
Then they'll know. If they say this, then he's a colonized guy. The colonization has led to a complete cut-off of our identity and our connection to the past. Right? So somebody who is not been colonized or who is decolonized is an Indic.
Okay.
But that's a negative word, right? So therefore, some people have suggested, look, why should we start a definition by the negative word? So we'll come to that. But more importantly, you can intellectually believe that yes, we are a civilization, but you might not have an emotional connect.
Yeah, true.
There are some people like that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You can say that, look, yes, I agree. Sure, we are a civilization. But yeah, so what? Right? So it's very important that you both intellectually
and
emotionally feel that you are a thousands of year old civilization. There's continuity. You're proud of that identity and that heritage. So that's why I define the first condition of definition of an Indic is that you celebrate. So in that word celebrate, why do you celebrate? Both intellectually and emotionally is packed in that word. Right? Celebration is done only when you believe in something.
True.
You don't celebrate it. So there's a belief, there's an intellectual analysis and a belief, and there's a emotion, there's bhava, there's a feeling. Right? So celebrate my civilizational continuity. That means there's no this was born this, or this is different, that is Vedic, but this Hinduism is different, right? So they try to break it.
Okay.
Right? So no, this is a new construct. Vivekananda is given this construct and all that. That was Vedic Hinduism. No.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
So I have to believe in the continuity. Right? Then the identity. Then the heritage. If I celebrate these three things, then I'm an Indic. Automatically it means that I'm decolonized.
Yeah, automatically.
Yeah, it automatically means that. Yeah. So it's not a new
So
concept.
brilliant. So this is what I wanted to.
That's the first definition. There are two definitions there. 2 lines. The second one is one who transcends the dualities of tradition and modernity, science and humanities, right? Tradition and modernity, science and humanities, east and west. If you're able to transcend this, I'm an Indic.
Okay.
This second sentence is not only for Indians, but any person in the world who is able to do this is an Indic.
Acha.
Because he might not be born in India, right? So he need not believe in the civilization. He might not have the same belief in the heritage. He may not have the same feeling. But if you're able to transcend these three variables, the reason I'm saying that is that, and each of these variables, there's a meaning for that, is that so for example, in the West, you had to have an enlightenment period, and then you had to have this construct called I'm a modern, and that's traditional.
Yeah.
I don't need to do that. I'm simultaneously traditional and modern.
Yeah.
I love my kurtas, right? I revel in my traditional life, but at the same time, I'm as cool as they come. I can be as cool as they come.
Yeah.
Right? What does it mean? That I don't have an identity problem
Yeah.
between saying that, oh, I'm a modern guy. I don't need to define myself and say I'm modern. And that is tradition. No.
What people try to divide.
Divide.
They create this divide that
These divisions are there.
if you're talking about Vedas, then you cannot be modern.
Modern.
Yeah, that's
I can be simultaneously both.
Huh.
Traditional and modern. And that is being an Indic. The second is science and humanities. This artificial division we never had. If you remember that talk by Vikram Sampath about the interconnectedness of Shastras.
Oh, yeah.
You can't be an expert in one Shastra and say, you can't study one Shastra and say I'm an expert. You have to study all.
All, yeah.
What does it mean? It means all knowledge is, holistic knowledge is important. Today the West is rediscovering that, starting from Peter Drucker, who talks about liberal arts being important, Steve Jobs and Apple talking about design and humanities being important. Now there is a global leadership management theories that are saying that, look, liberal arts is important, technology is important, design thinking, all these thoughts have come, which means what? They're trying to integrate science and humanities. Saying that you can't just focus on technology, but there's a humanness required, there's humanness required, there's a creativity that's required that only comes from humanities. But we already knew that. We already insisted that you need to study the Shastras, all the Shastras, to decide on one Shastra. Right?
True.
That's why I say you have to transcend the duality of science and humanities. The third one is East and West. We never had that problem. We treated the world as one family. We don't have the construct.
East and West divide in our minds.
This. But they have that construct saying that, oh, let us look at Eastern philosophy. Do you know that most US universities, the philosophy department doesn't have Indian philosophy in the philosophy department, but in the South Asian department?
Oh, really?
Yeah. Just like anything else, if they study about India, they put it under South Asia.
But Indian philosophy is a legitimate philosophy, philosophical foundation on which rest of the philosophy is.
Exactly. So therefore, this construct that they have is a very condescending construct, that I am West, my knowledge is superior, I'm now studying in a condescending way an Eastern knowledge. The moment you bracket me, I'm saying I transcend. I want to learn knowledge. Global civilization knowledge. I don't care whether it came from here or there. I study science or humanities globally. Right?
True.
So you have to transcend, because for me those kind of dualities are not there. So any person in the world who is able to transcend these dualities between tradition and modernity, that is comfortable in his tradition without being condescending and say, oh, these guys are traditional. Right? I'm modern. That's the first thing. Or science and humanities, or East or West. These are divisive stuff.
Absolutely, I totally now I'm understanding.
So I'm saying these two are these are my definitions of who is an Indic. Right?
No, but I like this very much. This is very interesting. See, like for example, when India sent this mission to Mars, a lot of people were writing and they were surprised that how these sari-clad women with a bindi and Tamilian hairstyle and all that. I was not surprised at all. It made no difference to me. I said, fine. I mean, it's not a question at all in my mind.
Exactly.
You know,
they can't have this construct that a traditional woman can be scientific.
Yeah. So you're free of imagery,
Exactly.
isn't it?
Exactly.
So is it the reason that we have so many manifestations in terms of God, all the traits of human beings, so that it doesn't matter to you if somebody says this or that, you say it's part of
Absolutely.
Srishti and Brahman.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. So now you also talk about Indic Renaissance. I also talk about Renaissance a lot. I talk about creative Renaissance, and you talk about Indic Renaissance. They mean the same thing. I don't want a creative Renaissance like the French Renaissance in India. I want the Renaissance which is built on Indian creativity, Indian art, Indian tal. Like in theatre, nobody has understood theatre better than us. But who's
Exactly.
educating the world in theatre? Right? So we in music, the ragas and all those, in costume, in clothing, in so much. I mean, I think that we are born very creative people. Everybody is born. But our advantage is because we looked internally, so we have a spatial knowledge which most of the world doesn't have. And also we have a very strong family system. So I think what happens if we take these two pillars and build a renaissance, creative renaissance around that, so that it also helps the entrepreneurs, corporates, and the leadership. People go and learn this how to be a leader, how to be a global leader. And what they learn are X theory, Y theory, Z theory, Stephen Covey, and all that. I say all you have to learn is the Indic way of thinking, which is the
Absolutely.
holistic, that every particle has a hole in it and the whole has. Anyway, so it's not about me. So people understand what kind of renaissance I'm talking about. It's easy to understand. What is the renaissance you are talking about? Indic renaissance means what?
Yeah, so I'm talking about a threefold renaissance, and it's entirely because of my proclivity for these three aspects of art and culture and spirituality and the intellectual Indology aspects. So, Indic Renaissance, I define it in terms of intellectual, cultural, and spiritual Renaissance. So,
Okay.
all the three are components of this. And it is based on Indic thought. So, I just want to talk to you about what is Indic thought.
Yeah, tell me that. What is Indic thought?
And the 5 points that I made out on what is Indic thought. First is Indic thought is non-dogmatic, non-exclusivist, non-predatory, and non-violent. You understand?
So
Our
non-violent,
thought,
non-predatory,
yeah,
and
non-dogmatic,
and
exclusivist.
exclusive.
Yeah. So you're talking about, it's not that only my God is superior.
Superior,
So that's
yeah.
not the case. Like how you have said that we see God everywhere in multiple forms. So there's no exclusivity,
Okay.
right? We don't try to convert others. We don't try to seek.
So we are not
others.
dogmatic. Yeah.
They're not predatory,
Predatory, sorry.
right? We're not dogmatic in the sense that this is it, can't be changed. Dogma is can't
Yeah,
be changed.
yeah.
We're not, right?
Yeah.
And the thought doesn't prescribe any violence. It doesn't prescribe any violence. On the other hand, yes, we don't have a problem with violence to defend ourselves.
Yeah.
That is there.
Yeah.
But we don't prescribe violence.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing. The second thing is that it is adaptive and self-reforming, plural and diverse.
Yeah.
Right? That's the Indic thought. That it is not like it's non-dogmatic, but it is adaptive to the times. Right?
Yeah.
And there is self-reform built in.
Yeah.
So if there's any discrimination that people talk about it, hang on. We know how to correct it ourselves. Right? Right from Shankaracharya to Ramanujacharya.
Yeah.
Right from that, and you have heard Abhinav's wonderful talk in Goa. There are so many reforming movements in our in history. So self-reform is built in. It's not a 20th century phenomenon.
Oh, no. See, yeah, you are right.
Right.
Because,
And we're adaptive. That's the
yeah.
point.
And I'll prove it. I mean, there's a proof for it. You see, lots of civilizations started more or less after us, or at least 2,000-3,000 years ago. What is the reason that none of our literature, our granths and our Vedas and Upanishads, nothing is in written form. Nobody has written it. The idea behind that was so that generations after generations, when I sing these to the next generation, if they feel that there's something has changed and needs to be corrected, so without any opposition in this, they can self-correct it and take it. So what we, but everywhere else it's a book,
Yeah.
it's a template. Once a book is written,
Yes.
then you can't change it.
Yeah.
Then slowly it becomes dogmatic. So is that the difference you're talking about, where
Exactly.
you're self-evolving?
Self-reforming. Yes.
निरंतर की जो हमारे यहाँ कल्पना की है हिंदी में से निरंतर means ever changing.
Yes.
Okay.
Then the third point, and it's diverse and plural.
Yeah.
So
There's no dispute on
there's
that.
no dispute on that. So that's already.
Yeah.
The third point is that it enables the discovery and expression of human potential. Because of the flexibility, a human being can express himself fully. Very important to understand,
Yeah.
and when you think of comparative analysis of different civilizational thoughts, and this enables you to nurture and express. You discover your dharma, you discover your swadharma, and your expression happens. Right? That's the beauty of
That's the beauty, yeah.
of Indic thought. Right? Then we have the situation of it is for global solutions. You have a situation of individual, which is okay. What is the value of this Indic thought? So what? Okay, all that's good, but what does it mean to me today? Right? Health is a major problem in the world. Right? Environment is a major problem in the world. Right? Violence is a major problem in the world.
Yeah.
All the three
Have solutions here.
have solutions here.
Yeah.
The individual's wellness or well-being, whether it's a yoga or Ayurveda or anything that is there, all that is embedded here, right? And which the West is now adopting. Of course, they don't credit us, but they are adopting it, right? Health is therefore. Then you talk about environment. I pray mountains, I pray rivers, I pray animals, I pray plants. Our Indic thought is essentially treating the human being as a part of the overall,
Oh yeah. I was.
the Jagat.
Yeah. Jagat.
We see Ishvara in Jagat, right? Now, this is not the case elsewhere. I mean, in other thoughts, that the man is for doing what he wants to the environment.
Yeah.
Now they're coming back and saying, hey, you have all those things, three things you put, and I want to protect, I'll put solar on my top. All that lifestyle that they have is all sustainability. Is basically Indic in nature.
Oh yeah, that I agree, because what West did was they divided external and internal. They said you set the external world in order and everything is fine. In our case, set the internal world in order to exist in the external world, so then only the cosmic cycle is complete. So you are part of one big whole,
Exactly.
right? And you can influence the whole and the whole. So I understand what you are saying.
And lastly, the peace, right?
Non-violence, yeah.
Yes. Now, the last point is that today's spirituality is very big in the West, right? Now, they have this concept called spiritual but not religious. And, they do a bit of yoga and a bit to do meditation, mindfulness, and all that stuff. And then they're saying, I'm spiritual, I'm not religious. Now, they don't have syllabus for that. They don't have syllabus. If you want to be spiritual, and okay, I want to be spiritual. Okay, I get up in the morning and say, from today onward, I'm spiritual. But then what? What do
How
you do?
do you become spiritual?
Exactly. They don't have syllabus.
Yeah.
My thought is the only thought that is structured and systematic for spiritual growth and happiness. I have to understand the Prakranagritas, right? And it's a very systematic. I have to go to a guru who will unfold. It's not just reading of the internet and all that. There's a template
There's a
that's
sign,
there,
of course.
right?
In fact, a lot of people tell me, in my friends and a lot of people in family who've gone, they tell me, why in India everybody has a guru? What does it require to be spiritual? You just sit and learn and do meditation. No, it's not true. I asked them, how did you learn mathematics and English?
Yes.
Right? For mathematics and English, you are willing to pay any kind of money to get a tutor and to learn something which teaches you the concept of life and beyond, and more than that, to understand yourself and discover yourself. You definitely, it's a science. You have to learn it.
Exactly.
You know.
And this whole concept, it's a very scientific way in which
Yeah,
it's.
yeah. I totally
So first
agree.
the guru unfolds it, and then you have to reflect on it because you have doubts. It's called the mananam phase.
Yeah.
And then there's the nididhyasanam phase wherein you are embedded in that.
So, Chintan, Manan, Dhyan.
Yeah.
Right?
So that's a structure.
Yeah. Yeah, the three stages. You
Yeah.
start with thinking,
Yeah.
Chintan, logic it out,
Yeah.
rationality. Then Manan
Yeah.
means deep reflection and
Yes.
thinking, and Dhyan is the final meditation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This is very unique to Indian thought.
Yeah.
Structured and systematic. A syllabus.
Yeah.
You get up in the morning and say, I want to be spiritual. What do you do the day after? Right? Come to us because we have a syllabus for you. Right? That's the 5 parameters of what Indic thought is. So when I talk about Indic Renaissance, I talk about intellectual, cultural, and spiritual Renaissance.
Spiritual, okay.
Right? Now, how is it going on? What
That's
exactly?
what I want to understand. There are a lot of people who know this.
Yeah.
Right? And a lot of people understand this. Now it's good you simplified it so younger generation understands it. So a lot of people are doing in their way something or the other. Jaggi is doing, trying to do something. Shri Ravi Shankar ji is trying another thing. Health part, Baba Ramdev is doing a lot of good work. So those are different. But you are doing it like you would run a project, something which is has a method to it, who has a logic, objective, and all. And I've seen you work with a lot of graphs and modern techniques of management and this thing. So, what is it that you are trying to do? I've understood now Indic, I'm clear about it. What is this Indic Academy, which you call, made of volunteers who also have the same objective? How will you do it? I mean, what is it that you are trying to do? Say 5 years from now, what's your vision? Where will you be 5 years from now?
Yeah. So, I think of it because of my entrepreneurial background. I think of this whole thing as a social. I'm a social entrepreneur.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
So I joke with my friends saying that, look, I'm trying to build a unicorn. Unicorn is a $1 billion
Yeah.
company, right?
Yeah.
So I'm trying to build a social unicorn. That if somebody were to put a value, right, that would be $1 billion. Right? So that's what I'm just joking, and I keep joking. I put it on my Twitter also, I think, building a social unicorn. But you yourself said that the value of what Dimple has done in the last 25 days itself is probably worth 1 crore. Right? You put a value to it.
Yeah.
Right? So obviously, if you just somebody puts a value to this whole effort, then someday it could be that. But anyway, that's not the issue here. The primary aspect is look at everything from an entrepreneurial background, and look at it from a business enterprise kind of a. So look at it as verticals. So what exactly is, who is my customer, and what exactly I'm trying to do?
And what is the product?
What's the product? The product is the thought, right? And I'll tell you.
This is what
I'll
confuses a lot of people.
tell you.
Doesn't confuse me. I understand. But a lot of people have asked me, what
I'll
are
tell
you offering?
There'll be thousands of products. I'll tell you. You see, Indian right. I hate to use the word right wing, so I'll say Indian right. Okay, because right wing means some biblical belt and I'm a redneck from somewhere. I'm not. So I don't want to be a right wing.
Yeah.
I'm right. So now, what has happened in the last, just a background of how we have landed in this situation. Right from 90s,
Post-liberalization.
yes, there has been an engineerification of the society. Which means, like, there's a person who teaches, there's a person called Ramaya in Hyderabad who does IIT entrances. So you have somebody who does entrances to Ramaya. So every middle class, every aspiring family wanted to send their children to IIT. Independent of whether that person is oriented towards engineering or not. So what as a country we have produced is millions and millions of engineers. The effect of that is that the humanities department of almost all colleges have dwindled.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
Today, as an option, there's no, we don't even go for a BA.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not even an option. You automatically go for an engineering. Right?
Yeah.
In this last 35 years.
And BA in humanities means you are a loser in life.
You're a loser in life. What's the consequence of that is, we have a whole host of engineers whose swadharma is actually in the humanities. Right? Having made money and having at the age of 40, 45, they are now saying, boss, it's a midlife crisis of a different kind.
I know that, yeah.
It's a midlife crisis of identity. It's a midlife crisis of purpose in life. Right? The identity is that I want to connect back to the past. The purpose of life is I want to do something creative. I want to pursue my passion. I was a singer, and then my mom said, don't sing anymore, go to Ramaya. Right? I was a poet. I was a script writer. I was a film director, or I was I used to write books. Whatever I was doing till the age of 10, before I was kidnapped to do the IIT entrances, I'm now connecting back and saying that's, sort of, I need to do this. Today, Indian right, 70% of Indian right comprises of this category of 35 plus people who have a passion and depth and understanding and aptitude for creative purposes.
Yeah, we have created a mixed up world. Okay, singers have become doctors and carpenters, okay, have become engineers.
Yeah.
We have created engineers without engineering, isn't it?
Yeah.
We don't have too much of indigenous engineering, but we have lots of engineers. So, similarly, a lot of people talk about Hindu, and I hate it, honestly, I want to tell you, because we've abused that word so much. You are exactly, the minute you talk about Hindu culture or anything, it sounds like some redneck from Bihar, which is not correct. That's why I want people to understand. But something which I want to understand is that what will you deliver? Okay, I'm 35, I'm 40, I have midlife crisis. I want to connect to my roots and I want to go back to that spirituality or health or through whichever route. And I come to your doors, I ring the bell, you open the door, and what do you offer me?
Yes. So first and foremost, you're a public intellectual because you're on social media, you're on Twitter, you're on Facebook, and you are writing blogs and you're writing about the past, and you have some passion. You have so many people on Twitter, you see that. So you're a public intellectual, but you do not have the final skills that the left has because you've not been trained in the humanities. Right?
Okay, yeah.
So there's a lot of people who have the passion, but they don't have the skills. So the first step is transform these public intellectuals into thought leaders by giving two things. One is their domain, whatever domain that they are involved in, training in that domain. Second, academic orientation so that their output matches the academic, the rigor and the research. Right? If these two interventions are made to the 35 plus public intellectual, he's transformed into a leader, thought leader.
Hmm.
So you're a public intellectual, Indic Academy is giving these two interventions, you're becoming a thought leader.
Indic thought leader.
A thought leader, yeah.
Yeah.
Now that's not enough for Renaissance.
No.
Just becoming a thought leader is not enough.
Absolutely not.
Now, from a thought leader, we are transforming him into a social entrepreneur.
Hmm.
And what does that social entrepreneur do? He delivers a product, a service, or an experience that is based on Indic civilization of thought.
Okay.
So, the moment you start thinking, I'm an entrepreneur, right? And I'm delivering a product. It's a product. It's a service. It's an experience, right? We had Indic Thought Festival. It's an experience. There's a cultural experience, right? Right now, there's an Indic Teen Fest that's happening. She's delivering an experience of ancient wisdom, modern insights, and future. It's a curated theme. So you're delivering an experience, right? Or a product, or a service, right? So I focus and completely tell whoever I interact with is, do not think yourself as a public intellectual. Don't stop at being a thought leader. Think
Move
of
on.
yourself as a social entrepreneur. The moment that entrepreneurship mindset happens,
Leadership comes in.
leadership comes in, customer focus comes in.
Yeah, of course.
What does it mean? So supposing if you're running a magazine or you're running a digital platform, I'm thinking about my customer. I'm also thinking, even though it's a not-for-profit, a social entrepreneur is of two kinds. He runs a not-for-profit. He can run a for-profit which has a social impact.
Yeah.
Right? The point is, either of these two entities, you have to deliver value to a customer. You can't have Renaissance thinking about your past,
No.
glorious past.
No.
It has to find resonance in the consumer today. And therefore, if you understand that, and if you understand that you're an entrepreneur and you're delivering a product or a service or an experience, then your orientation changes.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
Right?
definitely. Yes.
So this is what Indic Academy is trying to do. Nurture social entrepreneurs. Now, you can say, tell me a few products, or what are the products and or. So now, for example, this Teen Fest is there.
Or an idea. Product means idea, concept, anything.
But it has to be of value to a customer.
Yeah.
If it's not value, it's of no value.
Yeah.
Right? So the customer has to pay for it.
Yeah.
Which is what Smriti Irani was also saying.
Yeah.
That the customer has to pay for it.
Yeah.
Today, as a sideline, I will tell you, I break our entire Indic thought into, from a management background, so I break up everything into frameworks. So I break it into 5 C's. Right? And worldwide, there's a demand for Indic thought, or they're already consuming Indic thought.
Yeah. But nobody's selling it. It's coming in a very unorganized way.
Unorganized way.
Yeah.
Right? Indic thought is being consumed. People are paying for it. We are not selling it.
Yeah.
They are taking whatever they want.
Yeah.
They're plucking whatever they want. And they're selling it. The failure is our side. There's no point in complaining that you're distorted or you've done something, you're just plucking. You have not offered something authentic.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
You have not offered an authentic Ayurveda product. So Aveda will go ahead and distort you, and he will make
sell
money.
its California Ayurvedic honey. California Ayurvedic honey.
Yeah. You have not offered something.
Yeah.
Right? You look at Lululemon, who is into yoga, where now it's a $1 billion company.
Yeah.
Their yoga studio, they started. You are the capital of yoga. You never thought of making yoga clothes, right? You could have. So don't blame them. Blame yourself that you are not thinking in terms of an entrepreneurship.
Of course, yes.
That you can deliver an Indic product. You go to. I was at a conference. They were selling kombucha, right? This Indian fermented thing.
Alcohol.
No. This is for probiotic.
Oh, probiotic. Oh, yeah, I know. Kombucha. Yeah, okay.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's branding and all
Yeah.
that. So if you go to any Whole Foods or any of these organic shops, all of them, the brands would be Rishi, Varnasi.
Yeah.
You know, they're not sold by Indians.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
The point is that Indic thought, in terms of an Ayurveda product or a yoga product, all of them they are already selling. You are not thinking on those lines. Right? So coming back to breaking up, for example, what are the global trends? If you understand what are the global trends, right? The global trends are culture,
Yeah.
right? Very important. They're going for experiences. Tourism is all about now experiences,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Nobody's going to see a place and all that. It's all gone.
Yeah.
Golfing is there, this is there, that is there,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
people are essentially going for experiences. There's a festival in Moonlight in Thailand.
Yeah.
I'm going for that experience, right? I'm planning to go to Burning Man this year.
Oh, really? I'll see you there.
Yeah.
I'll meet you
Right.
there. I'm also planning this.
Yeah, I mean, why can't we have a Burning Man in Kutch Desert, right?
Yeah.
So you think of it as a product and a service.
Yeah.
Right. Now, experience and culture is a very big thing. We have the maximum number of festivals and for which we can package them and sell, right? Both the traditional festivals or the modern festivals, but we are not selling them, right? Craft. This is a global rejection of products from large companies. Everybody in California wants to wear a product or wants to buy a product that's made by a small village somewhere, and some livelihoods are benefiting that, and they feel good about it because they want sustainability. They want that manufacturing of that product has to be, it's not harming the environment, and therefore craft is a very big thing. Their lifestyles. I was having dinner 10 days back with the daughter of a very famous actor, and she loved Indian linen. She was wearing kurtas, and she said, "This I live in this kurtas." So, and she saw my kurtas too, and we were exchanging notes. And
Yeah, there is one thing I want to discuss with you. When I did my in advertising, when I did my thesis, and so I did on the about ancient India, how things were marketed in that, and I discovered that this is during Ashoka's time, that saris were marketed, and it describes in Gaya, and one is in Vidisha, near Vidisha also, in those caves, and there's a shloka which says, when this woman, when she wears this and when she walks, then she leaves a cool breeze behind. So after she leaves, people come and they sit down because it creates such cool atmosphere, something like that. Okay, thousands of years they express, but that's exactly what you see in your commercial. This woman wears something, she passes, and boys do ooh, and her pallu touches them. So which means we knew how to market concepts.
Yeah.
And if you look at our mythology, what they have done is taken very complex concepts, extremely complex concepts, and simplified them. And they use metaphors. Now, metaphors are used in storytelling, in advertising, in movies. So they use a lot of metaphors. कर्ण यहाँ से आ गए, वो सूरज का पुत्र है, वो इसका है. But they use metaphors to sell a concept to us. What happened that in last few hundreds of years, ultimately everything goes into invasion and all those things. But why did we lose this quality of telling stories about our own products? Because without telling stories, you can't sell a concept. Impossible. With statistics, you can't sell concepts, right? That's what you are doing. You are creating beautiful stories, which are inspiring stories around Indic thought. What you told me, I was listening carefully like a student. I was really enjoying it, though I know most of it. But the way you told me was very interesting. So why this resistance to marketing in our country? It's become a curse. It's between the success of this country.
Yeah.
We are so ashamed of marketing something. Why?
Here's the colonization.
Why are they blaming Modi all the time? He's marketing India. What's wrong if he's marketing?
Absolutely.
India is marketable commodity, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, will you market your products?
Yeah.
You believe in marketing?
Absolutely, absolutely. There's no doubt about that. So, I just to come back
Yeah,
on the
sorry.
trends.
Yeah.
If you break our thought,
So culture and experience.
cultural experiences, craft,
Yeah.
right? Then ceremony,
Yeah.
right? What our rituals are,
Yeah.
they actually can be a product. I can actually set up a event management company. People want experiences with thought. They want the combination of intellect and the experience. And then you present that and say that, look, for example, in Bali, if you go, all the beaches, they're weddings.
Yeah.
All the Japanese fly
Yeah. Yeah.
and
to
they get married
married.
and
Yeah.
they go back.
Yeah. Yeah.
You just have to think about it and say that, look, this is a Vedic wedding
Yeah.
thing. And I'm telling you, you will have 90% from the West who would want a Vedic wedding because the sheer experience of it.
Yeah.
But you have to package it, explain that every ritual, there's a concept, there's a meaning, and if you present that, there's a huge demand for that. So ceremony itself, if you think of it as a product, you can deliver. It's
Yeah.
Indic thought.
Yeah. Super.
Right?
Brilliant thought. This is a good thought. I liked it. Yeah.
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 So then I put everything in our spirituality as consciousness. Right? Now, spirituality, there's a guru and there's teaching. But there's an infrastructure behind that. Right?
Yeah.
We have not captured the spiritual retreat market. People look for experiences. Right? We don't have
Ayurvedic retreat.
Ayurvedic retreats in Kerala.
Yeah. Only in Kerala.
Yeah. But there are more Ayurveda retreats now in Thailand and in East.
Anywhere.
But
I was in Cannes Film Festival recently.
And
There was somebody was doing Ayurvedic massages and all those.
yeah. So we are not captured spirituality itself in terms of how we can set up retreats
Yeah.
in the Himalayas.
Ideally, they should be in Himalayas. Those thousands
Because
of kilometers.
That's what they come for, right? That experience of Devabhumi,
Yeah.
you can't get anywhere else,
Yeah.
right? But we have these problems, and we're not even thinking of spirituality as a product.
No, but these people, Jaggi and
They have done that.
They have done.
They have done that. No, of course, that's the individuals who have done it. But I'm saying as a policy.
But do you look at that as a success story?
Of course,
Isn't it?
of course.
Okay.
They are global soft power.
Yeah, soft power,
ambassadors.
yeah.
Absolutely.
And the kind of money they are generating and using that money to do social work in villages and other places is also commendable. I like that idea. You make a lot of money and then you reinvest in your own country and create products like that. Okay.
And last is care. Care is sustainability, and care is whether it's for the environment or through Ayurveda. That's all that is a global demand. You have to think of it as products. So these are already, there's a demand. You're not delivering authentic products or a service. Even a lecture
It's a product.
is a product.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
If I have a specialist who gives lectures and I can sell tickets.
Yeah. And this is something very unfortunate. I mean, I do not understand why people with Indic knowledge, the experts and the real intellectuals and academicians, they never get paid for their lectures. And they immense knowledge. In Goa, I saw he made a presentation on the chanting. When you do chanting, what happens to your brain? And he's got a scientific graphs which they did in Harvard for many years. They studied. Okay, nobody is going to pay him any money to make that presentation. But if I go and I blabber as a motivational speaker, I do it sometimes. So you go as a motivational speaker and you just speak the same things that, take risks and fail and that cliche knowledge, which is not even a knowledge, and you are paid in lakhs and lakhs of rupees. So I think that, again, the East and West divide, how you make the presentation.
Exactly.
So
we don't know how to market us.
Yeah, where I align with you is that you have to use modern technology, you have to use modern methods, modern ways. Now today you cannot say, okay, I will do door-to-door delivery. You have to believe in Amazon. Yeah. Okay, things like that. So I totally understand that. So wonderful. Anything else you want to?
So therefore you understand. Therefore this concept is that you have to think of the customer, think of a product or an experience or a service, and anything of Indic thought, even the most serious academic that you give me, right? I can convert him into a marketing machine. Just name any academic, serious academic. I'll tell you how I can deliver a product.
Okay.
For example, like Shrikant Talagiri.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. You're
Very
asking
serious.
me.
Yeah.
Okay,
So very serious.
Yeah.
He has written 3 monumental books.
Yeah.
Right. And he has brought out the out of India theory. Right. Now, if I have, like you, the ability to get 5 students whose only job is to spend time with him, I can create 5 stories.
Yeah. Of
5
course.
scripts I will give you
Yeah.
of how Indians went outside and conquered, and I will give you 5 stories.
Yeah. True.
But he has the domain, but he is not interested in that. He is an academic, but I should know how to use him to create stories that can be told.
Yeah. Okay.
You understand?
Yeah.
So any person, any academic, anything can be converted into a product.
Yes, everything is consumable. Otherwise, if it's not consumable, then keep shut.
Yeah.
Right? If you are the minute we start talking, it's consumable, and anything which is consumable has to ultimately convert, has to result into how you package it, market, and streamline it. That's what all. Okay.
People are looking for ideas, right?
Yeah.
So I am very clear that all it requires is a marketing framework and to encourage people to make them entrepreneurs and think of them as social entrepreneurs. If we are able to do this, and if we are able to nurture 1,000 entrepreneurs, Renaissance will happen.
Renaissance won't happen without that. That I agree.
Yeah.
You need lots and lots of people bringing in, and you have to not recreate. You have to create.
Scale and yes.
Scale and size. Yeah, without scale you can't do anything. Okay, so I mean, I wanted to ask you the mechanics and how you do it, the organization and how, but I think there's no need to ask those things right now. I think it's very important people understand. But you tell me, which are the 3, 4, 5 names in your mind who you think have successfully carried this Indic thought forward and actually added a lot of value to it, and they have been able to market it properly internationally?
See, okay, there are 2, 3 variables you have given there in terms of. So there are a lot of people who could have diluted it or presented it in different ways. So non-authentic way. So we'll leave that qualifications that
Yeah. Okay, fine. Yeah.
So Deepak Chopra is a good example that you see his books selling on and being advertised on Times Square. And, Oprah Winfrey is his friend, and so that's the best you can get.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, he writes articles saying that why he's not a Hindu, and he doesn't acknowledge the Indic roots. So, and that's the problem.
So he's picked up the spiritual part of it.
Spiritual, even Ayurveda also.
Yeah.
He's written books on
Yeah.
Ayurveda. So that he just doesn't acknowledge. He sort of dilutes.
Yeah. Then it doesn't work in our favor. Yeah.
Substantially. And I don't. So because he's an Indian, one would blame him. That why would you do that? Some non-Indian has done it, then so obviously. But I look at everything positively. Today I was recently at a conference. I was at TED, and so I had the badge founder of Indic Academy. So people ask me what is Indic Academy and what you're doing.
They ask you?
Yeah. So when you're chatting and getting to know, so I tell them that look, I am offering authentic Indic wisdom. And when I use the word authentic and I say yoga, Ayurveda, and spirituality, the response, almost 10 to 15 people, is huge. The reason is people are intelligent.
Yeah.
You sell me a superficial product, I will take it for some time. Yeah. But when I want to go deeper, and if you don't have
I'll drop it,
depth, then I will not, come back to you. Right? So there is now a pendulum has shifted the other side, where there's actually wanting authentic teaching, authentic products, acknowledged products. So there's a circle back.
Yeah, yeah.
Went back and then they circle back and then saying that look, we don't want to have things which are just taken away. So in my opinion, that's we need to capture that, right? Coming back to your question, ISKCON is a good example of how much growth they have done.
Yeah, yeah. And as a
Mission-
product, organization, infrastructure, Sri Art of Living, Jaggi now,
Exactly.
okay,
They're all global.
yeah.
But before that, I mean, it started with Swami Vivekananda.
Yeah, I totally see. I believe it can be done. Why? The reason I am talking to Hari is because I am on a mission. I want all these youngsters to start believing in their own Indic culture and knowledge and wisdom, and second, they should believe they can do it.
Yes.
It is possible. Just to share, about what I am Buddha. It started as a hashtag. What I did was the same thing, same concepts. I just took it, repackaged it, did it differently, and I had this concept that we need to build a lot of creative people in this country, and using Indian concepts. After meeting you, I understood that what you are trying to do, and I also thought a little differently. I think it can be done. It must be done. It shall be done if I have to talk like that. When do you think you will be able to meet your objectives? How many years to go? In your mind, what is your vision plan? What is your roadmap? How many years you think you will have some products which will be globally accepted?
Yeah, I think the way I'm looking at 2030
Okay.
as a cutoff.
Which is not far.
Yeah, so about 12 years
Hmm.
kind of a time frame. By which time you lay the ground. I mean, you lay the framework, the concepts and all that, and they are all flourishing. You might not see the actual thing, you might not, but at least you've created an engine for growth.
Yeah.
If you are able to create that engine,
Hmm.
I think that's a great thing. So that's my expectation.
So wonderful. I hope these engines are very strong engines, very powerful engines, and they carry lots of coaches with them.
Yeah.
And all the coaches have a lot of Indic values, some in literature, some in science, and some in social stuff. All that comes together, and I think that would be the day I would be living for. So thanks for great work, but I need to interview once more. I need to chat with you once more.
But can I just tell you about an idea that I just got from you?
Yeah, yeah.
So that you know how the minds think. So the concept is that there are a lot of writers, right? See, it's all about scale,
Yeah, yeah.
right? You got to get scale. How do you get scale with limited resources? That's the issue, right? Now you were telling me just now that you had 5 people and you transformed 5 people, right?
Yeah.
Now I'm going to offer a service to writers, right? Established writers, and say, look, you hire 5 interns, transform them, put your name, right, and also them become co-authors and work on it.
Brilliant
Right.
idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So this is the scale where established authors can do it.
And you know what this will do? Lots of authors I talk, they want to do some mammoth projects, big projects, but they can't do because they have to release the books. They are doing into lots of things. So if you give them people like that, so okay, so next 2 years you work with me, be a co-author, you do research, and I'll come. So that's a great thing to do. So
Yeah, that's a service kind of a thing.
Yeah.
I mean, there are a lot of Western authors who have done that, who have co-authored. Once you become
mentored
popular-
and co-author. Like that, the
yeah,
process.
So you have a big name, and then you have somebody else, and then that's how they get scale.
और ये जो एक one more thing I want to tell you, I think the magic of Guru Shishya Parampara, right, which is that the knowledge doesn't die with you or the skill doesn't die with you. In
Yes.
lots of places, a lot of genius people, but once they go, everything goes with them. So that's why Guru Shish Parampara, where you keep passing on your expertise and knowledge. And I don't see any reason why people have to be insecure. Knowledge is something more you share, more you get. So I think it's a good idea. So this Indic Academy which you are talking about, physical Indic Academy, right now it's running in lots of places. When do you think it's going to be ready?
2019.
2019. And what people can come and just reside there and do short-term courses,
Yeah.
learn, conferences, seminars.
Yeah.
So are we seeing some kind of a modern Nalanda?
I wouldn't say Nalanda.
Small modern Nalanda, conceptually speaking.
Yeah. So actually, yeah. So to make it easier.
Not this Nalanda, that Nalanda.
So I tell my friends that it's a combination of Esalen Institute in Big Sur in California, where they do
Yeah.
all the courses,
Yeah.
non-authentic courses, but combination of Aspen and a Santa Fe Institute. So if you think we need to be on the global forefront of leadership, thought leadership, right? We need to say we are creating Indic leaders.
Yeah.
And Indic leadership has a solution to the global challenges, right? So therefore, the conceptualization is that we're creating leaders. We're creating social entrepreneurs.
Yeah, yeah.
So if the moment you think of it as entrepreneurial institute,
Then the whole attitude.
the perspective is not about narrative. The perspective is not about, it's not about that.
And you are not in conflict with anyone.
Yeah, it's creating a product that people want,
Yeah.
right? And I'm creating entrepreneurs. So it's a skill development corporation. So Modi ji will be very happy if I tell him that I'm setting up a skill development corporation, right?
And
If you think of it like that.
yeah, and this is purely make in India.
Exactly. This
100%. So
purely-
that can't be better project. On that note, I think we leave something for them to decide. So wonderful, Hari.
Thank you.
And I think this is part 1. Okay, we'll have part 2 after some time whenever we meet.
Sure.
You are difficult to find. But when we meet, we'll discuss other ideas which you are doing and the methodology and the mode. And I have a suggestion for you. You have started Indic today. And I went through and it's a wonderful thing. And I yesterday,
I know.
I said, please,
Thank
because I
you.
like the design, There's only thing I have a problem with lots of people who try to market Indian products. Aesthetically, they suck.
Correct.
Right? Aesthetics,
Very
nice
important.
balanced design, packaging is very important.
Correct.
Otherwise, you'll be rejected by the world. A whole lot of products. There's a friend of mine who started selling these elephants
Yes.
over there.
Yeah.
And so he started selling these elephants and he started packaging them. It was so bad made in Agra packaging
Yeah.
that he got 1,000 elephants, nobody bought. He changed the packaging, people started buying. So aesthetics is something I think you should do it. And we are a country of aesthetics. Look at our designs and architecture and
absolutely.
sculpture.
I just got it. You can see this now.
Indeed today?
Yeah.
It's a wonderful site. I really liked it. It's very
Yeah.
good.
You can see your handsome self there.
Thank you. It's very, very
Yeah.
interesting.
So I mean, I spend half my time thinking about aesthetics and form.
Yeah.
So you have to outcool the rest of the world.
And aesthetically we connect. You must have seen I also am very aesthetic conscious of posters and designs,
Yeah. So therefore that's a given. You have to.
Yeah. So and just to conclude this, there's a story I was reading about Rabindranath Tagore. And Rabindranath Tagore, so Gandhi was very punctual about time. He always carried a watch so that timing and all that. So when he went to meet Tagore in Shanti Niketan, and he had to wait to meet Tagore. There was a time fixed, but Tagore came after half an hour. And every time he'll say, Kya hua, kya hua? So he would say, he's getting ready. And say, why is he getting ready for half an hour? He came out. He had long hair, He came out and he said, I'm sorry, I had to make you wait, but I had to make a choice. Either I follow your time fanatic disciplined regime, or I could have hurt you. He said, how? He said, because I was not ready. My hair is so long, I had to groom myself, and if I had not looked, I would have hurt your sensibilities. So therefore, I had to present myself properly. There's a deep meaning to it, you know. So I somewhere in our this thing, we know that when you present yourself in a bad fashion, you can hurt people's sensibilities.
Yeah.
Similarly, in communication, Satya Priya Vachan. Okay, our idea is not to hurt anybody. Our idea is not. I'm not in conflict with anybody. I am Tattvamasi. I am that. You are that. We are just here to share our knowledge with you and our products with you. Is that what, simply speaking, we are trying to achieve?
Absolutely.
So great. So next time when?
You let me know.
Oh, come on. So that's next year. Okay,
Thank
Hari,
you.
great.
Thank you.
Wonderful.